Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Pipe Wrench, and by Junk Be Gone, and by the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source in our brand new studios here, brought to you by folks at Junk Be Gone. We appreciate you joining us. Tennessee with a whipping of LSU, 40-13 yesterday in Baton Rouge. We're going to talk all about that. We'll also be talking about Alabama. And when Tennessee lines up against Alabama on October 15th, this coming Saturday, that will be the deepest into the calendar year that Tennessee has been undefeated since 1998. Ooh. Let's get into this show. First segment of our broadcast brought to you by our friends at Paper Be Gone. Everywhere you turn, there's a story of someone having their business records or their personal identity stolen. Protect yourself, protect your company, protect your family by letting Paper Be Gone destroy your documents for you, whether those are paper records. If you're in the medical field, they can destroy x-rays, which takes a special process. Even hard drives. If you want to get rid of your computer, hard drive, you got to get rid of that. Paper Be Gone can take care of that. They do it all. Same wonderful company that has been bringing you Junk Be Gone for years, Paper Be Gone. Give Mike Such and his team a call this week. Visit them at paperbegone.com. All right, let's welcome in the first wave of panelists, and we do have a full show with a ton of people here joining me today. First set of guys we have right here. Jimmy Himes from 99.1 The Sports Animal. Jimmy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, John.
Back with us again, former Virginia Tech football player, former NFL football player, former Virginia Tech defensive coordinator, Justin Hamilton. Justin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, John.
Right over here we have Will Overstreet, former Vol, former NFL player. Good to have you back.
Glad to be here.
Bob Hodge, former everything. He's just almost former member of this panel. Longtime sports writer, longtime member of this team, Bob Hodge. All right, let's get started with just some more info on what yesterday's game meant. Tennessee last year was 1-4 versus ranked foes. They are already 3-0 versus ranked opponents this year. Josh Heupel has now won 3 games versus ranked foes in his first 18 games. And actually 4 in his first 18 games, 3 of those on the road. This is the first time Tennessee has won 3 games versus ranked foes in the same season since 2016, but they needed the bowl game to do it. It's the first time UT has won 3 games versus ranked foes in the regular season since Will Overstreet was a senior. 2001 when they beat LSU, South Carolina, Florida, Michigan in the Citrus Bowl, but 3 of those in the regular season. It's been a while since Tennessee has been winning at these levels against this level of competition. So let's just start. That's my takeaway is it's new ground. It's new old ground, if you will. Jimmy, what's your takeaway? What's the lead story coming out of that big win yesterday in Baton Rouge?
I thought it was Tennessee's most complete performance under Josh Heupel. Offensively, they had over 500 yards. They ran for over 250. They even executed the 4-minute offense, which took almost 9 minutes off the clock. Defensively, they had 5 sacks. They allowed LSU to get in the end zone just once. 0 for 3 on 4th downs for LSU. Special teams, they recovered the opening kickoff. They had a 58-yard punt return. They made 4 field goals. I just thought it was a complete performance under Josh Heupel. I was very impressed with what Tennessee did.
Anyone else?
The big news is also LSU agreed with that, right? And they also agreed that they got out-coached. I mean, that entire game was a dominant performance, and you haven't seen that. You may have seen Tennessee do that against Vanderbilt or Kentucky in the past, but no one else have they been able to put together a game like that. And so that was just huge. And just throughout that game, the team was dominant. And you went against – LSU may not be great in a lot of areas, but for instance, on the defensive line, they've got several NFL guys.
Right. Yep.
They didn't get a sack. I mean, so it was a dominant – and they rushed for 250 yards. That shouldn't be able to happen against that level of defense.
And I'm going to go with and take a step farther. And a complaint that we've had around here for a long time, Tennessee gets good recruits. They come in, they don't get better. This coaching staff has made so many guys on this team better. You didn't have your left tackle. So you're alternating with a walk-on and a relative young guy. and you don't miss a beat with it. And so my biggest takeaway is these guys are coaching up what you have instead of waiting around. Well, next year's recruiting class, we're going to get a 5-star tackle, so we'll be a lot better there. And I think if you want to go to one player in particular to see it, it's Hyatt. He wouldn't have caught those passes last year, I don't think. Everybody talked about he transformed his body. Well, he's transformed his game. And so my biggest takeaway is you're taking what you have and you're making them better.
Justin, you were coordinating a Power 5 defense just last year. What was your takeaway from that game? How do you look at it?
First thing, I have love for Jalen Hyatt. He was committed to us for a long time after James before he became involved, so it's been
I'm glad
for
you
me.
said Jalen, because the reason I said Hyatt, I was about to say Gerald.
Well, he's got a little brother, too. I'm not sure what his name is. But I did an internship with the Titans this summer, and I learned from Mike Vrabel then the three most the statistical battles that most increase your odds of winning. That's QBR, QB rating, that's rush yards, and that's turnover margin. QBR yesterday, Hendon Hooker 88, Jaden Daniels 55.9. Rush yards, Tennessee, we already talked about it, 263, LSU 55. Turnover margin, Tennessee +2, had no turnovers. When you see those stats, they're that lopsided. You see 40 to 13 scores typically. And we said it earlier off camera, 11 a.m. start, when they give you the first kick and they put your offense inside the 25, inside the 30-yard line, thank you.
Well, and not only that, but we had said last week you don't want to face all those drunk Cajuns screaming at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. To get them at 11 a.m., they're not going to be as loud. You took a lot of Tennessee fans down there. I mean, the Vol fans were loud.
Yeah.
When you can hear the Brew chants on the road at Tiger Stadium, that tells you something. So not only did they get off to a sleepy start, as you mentioned, it kept their fans out of it, and so many Vol fans went down there, it let them take over that stadium.
Well, my wife went watching the game. I was watching. She came in. She goes, "Oh, I didn't know they were playing at home." I mean, that's how loud Rocky Top was on the TV. It sounded like a home game.
And the other critical stat with momentum was 3 for 3 on offense, Tennessee on 4th down, 0 for 3 LSU on offense on 4th down. That was critical early in the game.
Tennessee was so dominant, Mike the Tiger fell asleep.
And something you said about Tennessee and LSU's running game, that was another takeaway for me. I didn't think, even though you had one offensive lineman out for LSU and lost another one early, that was still a heck of a performance to shut down their running game the way they did. Their running backs rushed for what, less than 2 yards a carry?
Yeah, it was 2 of them. We'll get into
12 carries, 17 yards, and the long run was 4.
I mean, that to me, another big takeaway.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance. I'm going to save a little time here. We're going to move ahead and tell people what's coming up, so we'll make up time for more conversation a little bit later. Here's what's coming up on today's show. We'll have our VFLs discussing the defensive strides. We'll see if they felt that the defense took steps in the right direction. That'll be their own little segment where they'll be at our nice new bistro table. We'll do the magic number. If you're wondering if there's a number Tennessee has to hit, or you don't, or if you're an Alabama fan, you don't want Tennessee to hit, we've got it. Josh Ward's going to show it to you. Game planning for Alabama. Is this going to be another trick where you get your hopes up, or is this finally going to be a treat versus Alabama, plus the Cavaliers line and much, much more? When we come back, what did we learn from yesterday's victory? We talked about the big picture stuff. Let's talk about more of the specifics, including, I think Josh Heupel gets another coach's heads, and that's an advantage I didn't see coming with this offense. We'll discuss that and much more. What did we learn next on the Sports Source?